everyone, welcome back to the Gypsy Caravan. I'm Shan. How you doing? So for today's video, as you can kind of determine from the title of this video, I just want to share with you some of my favorite foundations that I am a die-hard fan for. If you're looking for some recommendations or some ideas for foundations because you're, I don't know, new to foundations or just looking to change up the current foundation that you have, then let's get into the video. Okay, so obviously my favorite foundations probably won't apply to everyone's skin type, because as we know, we have different skin types. So my skin type is a bit of a combination. It's fairly normal to oily. I wouldn't call my foundations a full face glam, I don't know, situation, because the type of foundations that I'm into are the ones that are more serum based, very liquidy, still kind of mimic the texture of skin, and are not heavy and full coverage at all. My ideal type of foundation that I will always reach for 95% of the time, 99% of the time, is sheer to medium coverage, lightweight. It doesn't even have to be long wearing. I don't care if there is transfer, because that sort of thing doesn't bother me, but that is just essentially my favorite kind of foundation. So if that's not what you're into, then this is probably not the best foundation video recommendation situation for you. This is mainly for the girls or the women. This is mainly for the people who want that very dewy, glowy, healthy skin vibe without necessarily the coverage. If I am having an extremely bad day with breakouts, I know I'll have concealer. Concealer has my back, and that will cover the blemishes or problems that I'm experiencing that day. I really do not care if you can see my skin's textures or problems or whatever you find dysfunctional in my face through my foundation. I actually enjoy being able to see my skin through my foundations and being able to wear less of it, because I feel like it's not necessary. I'd rather have like a super glowy primer with a bit of concealer than slap on raw concrete on my face. If that's what you're into, that's fine too. Most people naturally these days are into the more heavier full coverage foundations, but that's not what I'm here to discuss today. My range of foundations vary from super sheer to almost non-existent to somewhat full coverage, and I'll explain which of those are, because I do sometimes enjoy a fuller coverage moment in comparison to like the rest of my foundations. So I've rambled on for 6 million years, so let's just do it. So the first foundation I have here with me is the Josie Maran Vibrancy Foundation. Vibrancy, I'm pretty sure it said a V there, whatever. I have literally been after this foundation probably for like a good 6 to 8 years now, because this is just not made in South Africa. I got this overseas while I was traveling. So the shade I have here is Supernatural RG10. Right now, this very second, or this very moment, this is far too light for me, because I have just recently come back from a trip and I am still kind of tan, but I am going back to my fair state, so this will probably be better for me to wear in winter, just as a frame of reference. So the reason why I really like this foundation is because it is infused with argan oil. Now, argan oil on an oily skin might not be the best thing, because argan oil is quite a hydrating ingredient, but I am aware of some people who do have really oily skin who have enjoyed using this foundation. So I guess it's pretty much good for everyone. I am also aware that some people who have mature skin or really textured skin have enjoyed wearing this. Yes, this is just one of those foundations that everyone can use and benefit from. So the reason why I've been after this foundation for so long, because I saw so many people use it in their videos and link them in their photos that they post on like Instagram and things, and also just a lot of really great reviews about the foundation. I did a lot of homework and research before purchasing the foundation, because it is quite a pricey purchase. I spent $75 if I'm not mistaken on this foundation, because it provides medium to full coverage, but you can shear it down to look less heavy on the skin. But again, that's also just a thing. This doesn't look heavy on the skin. Yes, it looks like you're wearing foundation because obviously it is of a fuller coverage, but it just sits beautifully on the skin. It gives the skin a very natural radiance, matte-ish with a bit of radiance, if that makes sense. So it still gives the skin a really nice dewy finish, but it's not flat. It's not like one-dimensional. Other great ingredients that are there to help moisturize the skin and hydrate the skin, not only instantly but but throughout the day as well, so your skin will always look plump and vibrant and fresh throughout the day, I guess. What's also really great is that they have a color matching chart online. So obviously, of course, if you're in your local Sephora or Ulta, of course you can get someone there to help you find your color. I didn't need to, and also because some of the people there are just not helpful at all. So their color matching chart online will give you an example of the skin tone. It will explain the skin's undertone and shades for you. So I literally looked online, and it is the perfect match for my skin when I'm fair, not when I'm tan. If I am tan, then I do have to mix this in with like a liquid bronzer or something that I have lying around in my kit, just to add a little bit of color to it, so it's not like my face is a different color to my neck. So the second foundation I have here is the Revlon Photoready Candid Natural Finish Foundation. This, I'm pretty sure when they first launched, I saw everyone ranting and raving about it, and I thought, you know what, I'm not a snob, but I'm not into drugstore foundations, but because drugstore brands are really stepping it up these days, I decided, let me start with a Revlon foundation. So I got this one. I am in the shade 200 Nude, and it is an exact match to my skin. It's a natural finish anti-pollution foundation. This foundation provides a medium to buildable coverage. So it provides medium coverage, and you can build it up to a more full coverage foundation. Also, just depending on the tool you use as well, you can get immediate full coverage if you want. So this is like my second fullest foundation that I own that I really enjoy using. The reason I really enjoy wearing this foundation is because even though it is of quite a full or medium to full coverage foundation, it still looks extremely natural on the skin. I'm not going to say it mimics skin entirely, but it has something in this foundation that just makes your skin look 100 times better. It's just the best looking foundation on skin, and I would highly suggest this for literally everyone, dry skin to oily skin. It does something to your skin, and honestly, it just looks amazing. This foundation, it's anti-pollution and non-comedic, which basically means that it's got specific ingredients and properties in here that are going to block any pollution that you can find that, I don't know, is present in the air, especially staying in Joburg where it's such a busy city. The pollution is just inevitable, you can't avoid it, it's here. So it's going to help just protect your skin from that. So it builds up kind of like a barrier. Non-comedic basically just means that it's not going to block up your pores, which is an A-game changer for me, is when something is not going to block up my pores. So again, it's kind of like a barrier foundation where it's not going to like sit in your pores, it's just going to lay flat against it and not block up your pores. So I feel like that's probably why this foundation mimics skin so well, is because it has a breathability to it, I'm assuming, I'm just guessing. And then of course it's got antioxidants and anti-blue light filters in. And basically what that means is that any device, your cell phone, your computer, TV, any device emits this harsh blue light, which actually can be very degrading to your skin. Also, like, just something that I've recently learned is that this blue light is seriously degrading on one's skin, and it attacks the cells in your skin specifically, I think, I'm not sure. So this has kind of like a filter that blocks out that blue light, that doesn't age you quicker than what you need to be aging. Drugstore brand, so it's super effective, it's super affordable if you're not into a high-end foundation, and also if you are very young and starting out and trying new foundations, I would definitely recommend the Candid range. It's just, there's just no words, it's just absolute perfection in a foundation, so I definitely recommend that. Okay, so keeping in with the Candid theme, I have its sister here. This is the Revlon Photoready Candid Glow. So basically, it is an exact replica of this foundation, but it's the more glowier cousin, I guess, to this foundation. So it's everything you want in the other foundation, but a more glowier finish to it. So in this shade, I chose 120 because they're actually not the same in shades. I was looking for a 200 in this, and it was actually far too dark for me. So the numbers for each of these are not the same, just so you know. So I am in 120 buff. As far as I know, these have not launched in South Africa yet. I actually purchased this at a CVS while I was traveling. The only difference, oh my gosh, what is going on? The only real difference between the two foundations is that obviously this is the more glowier one. So this provides a light to buildable coverage. So you can only get up to like about a medium coverage in this one. With this one you can take it all the way up to a full coverage one. And then the only ingredient difference between the two is that this contains prickly pear oil. Very similar to the Vibrancy Foundation from Josie Maran. The prickly pear oil essentially is just an oil infused in the foundation to help people with dry skin get a more moisture-filled, hydrated looking skin. So that's really truly the only difference. Other than that, it is the exact same formula, the exact same consistency, just a more glowier, sheer version. And obviously you can tell by the difference. This packaging is a lot more chrome-like in finish, and this one's like matte. There's a few matte foundations that I really enjoy. So this one here is Face and Body. I absolutely adore this foundation with my heart, soul, being, toenail growth, everything that is me is Face and Body. This is hands down the nicest foundation I've ever come across in my being until I try something else to replace this. This will be my die-hard go-to every single time for everything. I have used this on brides, I have used this on mature women, I have used this on little youngsters, like girls. I've used it for everything. It is literally the best foundation ever. I have C1 here. This is my exact shade for my skin tone now, and then I use C3 when I am a little bit more tan. The reason why I love this foundation so much is because it's long wearing. It gives you about 15 to 18 hours of wear. It's very elastic. It's water resistant. It's great for your face and your body, hence the name. The thing that I like about it the most is that it's a sheer to medium, maybe buildable coverage. You can very easily obtain full coverage with this foundation, and that's the best part about this foundation, is that it's so thin and so elastic that you can literally build on probably up to 100 layers and it still does not look like you have half a can of foundation sitting on your face. It is just, it has the most amazing finish. It's natural, it mimics skin perfectly, it gives the skin the most amazing dewy radiance. It's just, it's everything. It's everything that I'm looking for in a foundation. What makes Face and Body quite unique is the liquid formulation. It's quite a liquidy, very watery kind of foundation. So if you would like to have a more sheer coverage, you can easily buff this in with like a brush or a sponge, and you can get quite a sheer thin veil of foundation over the face. If you wish to build up coverage, it has a very unique way of building up coverage on itself before you even apply it to your skin. The way in which you achieve that is to actually decant some of it into your hand, because it works off of friction. So you have to sit and warm up that foundation in your hand and frisk it up in your fingers and then go and apply it. In doing that, it builds up sort of a tackiness. You can actually feel it get quite sticky between your fingers, and that is how it generates coverage. it works off of warmth and friction. So if you rub up that foundation enough and then apply it to your face, it gives you the most amazing lightweight coverage. Nothing is going to take this away from me. I used this on my wedding day. I used this on other people's wedding days. Purely because it also doesn't have an SPF, and SPF can tend to give a bit of a white cast or a flashback in cameras. This doesn't. Thank you. So yes. So these, they do come in 2 different sizes, thankfully. This is the 120 ml bottle, and then they have a smaller one of 50 ml if I'm not mistaken. This one is again from MAC. This is the Studio Waterweight foundation. It is very similar to Face and Body with a couple differences. So this one is more of a serum-y kind of foundation. It is still quite liquidy. It is still quite thin in its consistency. It's very watered down and watery, and the fact that it's called Waterweight literally tells you that it's just there to give your skin instant boost of hydration. In my opinion, it is actually more sheer in coverage compared to Face and Body. Face and Body, you can actually still warm it up and generate a coverage, where I feel like with Waterweight, you can apply this again in like 200 layers and it won't look like you're wearing foundation. It just has the most amazing finish. It's very diffusing on the skin in the terms of it doesn't really capture the fine lines and wrinkles. It helps just to kind of smooth it over and just really give your skin that nice dewy, I woke up like this kind of glow and dew. Love it. So I'm normally an NC20 when I'm quite fair. This is an NC30 for when I tan a little bit more. I don't know what it is about these 2 foundations, but they literally are just everything, especially if you have dry skin, or if you have normal skin like I do. It just looks amazing on the skin. It's such a beautiful foundation, and I would highly suggest buffing it in with like a duo fiber brush or applying it with a damp sponge. It looks absolutely flawless on the skin, and it's definitely a must. Lastly, the last foundation I have here on my list is not really a liquid foundation, but it's still one of my favorites, and that is the Studio Fix Powder Plus Foundation. A lot of women get confused because they think that it's the powder on top and then you lift this goodie and there's a foundation underneath. It's not like that. It's essentially, the best way I can describe it, it's a foundation that's been dehydrated into a powder. That's essentially what it is. I'm in the shade NC20. So I really enjoy wearing this because of how manipulatable it is. And I know that sounds very strange because technically it is a powder. You would assume it will mattify the skin and give you full coverage. That's not the case when you know how to apply it correctly. So essentially, if you are looking for something that is more full coverage and something that will mattify your skin, this obviously will of course do that for you. The way in which I like to wear it is I like to prep my skin with as many liquid and glowy primers and highlighters and balms underneath, so that when I apply the powder over top and set it with a setting spray, it still brings about an even skin tone, but it still allows that glowiness from all my products to show through. And that's precisely why I like to wear this. If you apply this powder over top a damp skin in terms of freshly applied moisturizer, or if you drench your skin in a setting spray and then apply this, it does kind of tend to liquefy slightly in order to give you a type of foundation finish, almost like a cream to powder situation, but it's very buildable, of course. So this is quite long wearing as well. I'd say about 15 to 18 hours. It's easy to carry in your purse for touch-ups if you're that kind of a person. It's great especially for oily skin types because it obviously mattifies the skin. If you're looking for something that's full coverage, this is nice because it's buildable. Great for kind of smoothing over the skin. If you want absolutely perfected, flawless porcelain skin, I would definitely suggest applying this over a foundation. Although it's not recommended because this essentially is a foundation, so you're putting a foundation over a foundation. But if you just really want that nice airbrush flawless finish of the skin, I would definitely suggest layering this over foundation. But my favorite way to wear this is just to whack on a crap load of glowy primer, a little bit of concealer to spot conceal, and then a couple runs with a big fluffy brush over this. I do enjoy wearing this more sheerly than what it's intended for, purely just because that's just the kind of finish that I'm after, but it's just the easiest foundation for me to apply. It's my lazy person foundation when I'm in a rush and I need my skin to look good, but I just don't really have the time to sit and really perfect the skin and put the whole routine of a primer, concealer and foundation on. This is going to get me places. So you can either apply it with the sponge goodie that comes with it, but my favorite is the biggest powder brush that I have. Okay, so that is pretty much a quick little roundup of the types of foundations that I love using, my favorite foundations. These are my ride or dies. I will repurchase these time and time again. I have repurchased these, a few times. If you enjoyed the little mini haul of foundations that I have here for you, if you have any suggestions for really good foundations, I'm all ears. I would love to try foundations. My favorite process or step in makeup to do is actually like the skin. I enjoy doing skin more than anything, so I'm always on the lookout for a good foundation. Share, of course, if you have recommendations. So thank you so much for watching today. Again, don't forget to leave your comments down below or recommendations for me. I'm eager to see what kinds of foundations you enjoy using. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Like this video, and I will see you in my next tutorial.